His brother seems like a nice guy. It's a dry Sunday morning. You grab your morning coffee and scoot your rapidly growing kitten off your office chair, and despite her protests, sit down at your desk to check your email. A new message pops up in your inbox almost as soon as you do. It's from Amanda, and you remember your meeting in the cafe and awkwardly bringing up your feelings to her. Hey, sorry it's been a few weeks. I meant to get this to you sooner, but it took a while for me to get a hold of my folks back home. Dad told me to say hi, by the way. Anyway, I remembered what we talked about last time I saw you, and I hope you aren't insulted. But I asked my mom for the number for her therapist. Don't worry, I didn't tell her who it was for. I think she's worried about me now, though. Haha. Anyway, the number is 647-723-5274. It's a really good office. You should look into it. Talking to someone never hurts. If you're worried about money, don't be. They're one of the few that has a really good sliding scale fee system and won't charge you what you can't afford. I hope you're feeling better. It was really nice to see you again. A. It's still early enough that you can call and make an appointment today. Your kitten curls up in your lap as you consider what to do. And it said it was a Sunday. I don't know many places like that that are open on a Sunday. Let's see. That's probably not a good idea. Putting things off is not a good idea. So, let's do this. Scroll wheel. Bad. You read through Amanda's email 2 or 3 times, then sit and stare at your computer for a while. While the memory of that uncomfortable conversation makes you feel newly embarrassed and self-conscious, part of you is also encouraged by the fact that she cared enough to get back to you at all. Sitting in front of your computer, you start to question things like whether or not Amanda sent you this number out of pity, or perhaps some sense of obligation after having listened to you. You question her motives and the validity of her concern, and whether or not you think seeing a therapist would even be helpful. Yet, almost unconsciously, you reach for your phone, and before you realize what's happening, you're listening to the therapist's line ring. Before you can bring yourself to hang up, you're listening to the slightly clinical but not unpleasant voice of the receptionist ask how she can help you. I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor you managed to stammer out. The conversation is quick and not nearly as unpleasant as you were fearing, and quicker than you can say Freudian slip, you've scheduled an appointment. Quicker than you realize, appointment day rolls around. What do you do? I think I'm going to get through the therapist session and then call it a night. It's pretty late. Let's see. Sit in your car terrified, blah, blah, blah. Just the thought of going to your appointment ties your stomach in knots. You crawl back into bed. Definitely not going to do that one. Alright, let's do this. Science of life. What the hell those are? You have your first session with your new therapist, Dr. Susan Melville, a tall woman in her mid-40s with a disarming demeanor and patient eyes with the start of the slightest smile lines. She makes you feel really comfortable and fairly easily, which is a pleasant surprise after all of your anxiety over the appointment. As you leave, you make a second appointment. You're still skeptical about all this, but you figure you might as well see where this goes. The hardest part, it seems, was taking the first step, which is extremely true. It is the hardest part. You just have to swallow your pride and do it. And once it starts, you'll feel so much better. Where the hell was I? You're still not sure if and how you're going to tell your family or your partner, but you figure you'll deal with that when the time comes. Either way, you feel relieved that you managed to see this through instead of being paralyzed with worry over it. Even if nothing comes out of it, you did something you said you would instead of flaking out or running away. You're emotionally exhausted when you get home and collapse into bed. You sleep better that night than you have in a week, and you're not sure if it is because you were so tired when you got home or if it's because of the therapist. They even got like a therapist talking in the background. That's interesting. Alright. That's changed. Oh, now I'm only moderately depressed. That's better. Alright, let's do a few more, I guess, and then call it a night. It is early on a Wednesday morning. Lately, you've developed a nasty habit of waking up 10 to 20 minutes before your alarm rings, and unfortunately today is no exception. You lay in bed, each minute ticking closer and closer to wake-up time, and passing on a swelling wave of ever-encroaching dread. I wish I had this problem. One of the other signs of depression is sleeping way too much. Like, at my worst, I was sleeping 12 to 14 hours a night. And that was going to bed at midnight and not waking up until noon or 2 in the afternoon the next day. So, I'm not as bad as I was back then, but I still wish I didn't sleep like 10 to 12 hours. Okay. Sooner than you would like, your alarm blares with caustic inevitability. You frantically pound the snooze button and then retreat under your blankets, as if the warmth of your comforter can shield you from the passage of time. You almost always have difficulty rising from bed, but today that simple task seems nothing short of Herculean. After several snooze cycles, you decide that you just can't deal with work today. You're incapable of even rousing yourself from bed, let alone going into work and having to force yourself through a workday. Not to mention you've snoozed so many times that it would be impossible to make it in on time now anyways.